Hi, I'm Tracy Pierce. Thanks for joining me for this series of live communications with animals. So today I'm talking with a wild robin. So the way I really do this is, I maybe go for a walk in my neighborhood and I'm just kind of holding up this question of what animal has something what they want to share with me or share with the world, and just kind of ask them, if you would like to do this kind of animal communication session with me, then please present yourself for a photo. I know it seems kind of a simple, weird thing, but it's been working so far. So I'll share my picture of this robin with you. And this isn't a fantastic picture. I'm working with a 6-year-old cell phone camera. So sometimes, even with the best cell phone camera, it can be kind of hard to get a picture of wildlife, but this is what we're working with. This is from maybe a week or two ago. We kind of tend to get snow late here in Colorado. So let's see, if you're joining me live, if you're on Facebook, if you have questions for this robin as I go into it, you can type it into the comments there. Or if you're joining me live on Zoom, there should be a little button on the bottom of your screen there that says chat. Just click on that, and if you have a question for this robin, go ahead and type that in. So I'm just going to go ahead and get quiet and start tuning into this robin and see what it would like to share with us today. So the first thing that comes forward is it just feels like there's a lot of activity in this bird's energy. There's that sense of like being woken up from hibernation, or this sense of spring coming about, and this sense of there being a lot of movement and starting to be a lot more energy engaged, like physically, with this bird. Yeah, this one is showing me like there's a lot to do this time of year. It's showing like gathering the little sticks to build a nest. Yeah, this bird feels quite young. I'm also asking if it's male or female. I do feel like it's female. Yeah, it's showing me this is its first time getting ready to have babies. And there's this instinctual kind of knowing that just kicks in. That's what she's showing. This is a very busy time of year. Gathering, building the nest. It's also showing like eating. There's a lot of eating to be done this time of year, like gathering worms that come up. She's showing she wants this sense of like really robust healthiness for when she's going to be sitting on these eggs. Yeah, I almost get this sense of her kind of building up her health in order to get ready for this reproductive phase of her life. So, Miss Robin, is there anything else that you want to share with us? I felt like that day I was walking by the yard, you were really pinging me like, hey, I want to share things. So I wonder what those might be, or what you want to share about yourself or your species, or even the world at large. I'm kind of leaving it up to you, like what you might like to share with us. So I hear this bird song, bird singing. The way robins sing, like there's kind of this, I don't know that I could replicate it, but there's this particular um, bird song that she's showing me, how things become more active in the spring. It's this bigger reflection of this part of the earth waking up. Like she's showing how as a species that like she's very in tune with the seasons and with nature. She's showing, you know, like robins exist. I don't even know how widely they exist. They're very widely existing around the world. But she's showing how, you know, depending on which individual, what part of the earth or what part of the world that the robins live in, they're very attuned to what's happening in the earth there. And like their expression of themselves is actually an expression of the earth as well. That's what this robin is saying. Okay, so we have a question here. Robin, Nancy would like to know, is there a safe way to discourage smaller birds, probably sparrows, from building nests in our canvas awnings? We had to replace the last one due to this. We built a small birdhouse, but they love the awning. Do you have any thoughts about that, Robin? Wow, I really get kind of just this blankness from her asking that question. Yeah, she's like, well, I'm kind of on the other side of this. I'm really looking for, you know, places like that. And I'm really for more the, for our species or for birds being able to build in areas like that. And this robin's like, you know, it's not necessarily my concern. Oh, that's interesting. Do you feel any concern for, you know, these other birds that are building there that, if they aren't able to find a different place to build that, you know, that might be more destruction for them? Yeah, her point of view is more like, can you show me that again, please, Robin? It's a little bit of upsetness, a little bit almost like, you know, we birds always have to learn how to build around humans, but humans don't really build around us. They don't really take into consideration things about us when they build things. And she feels a little irritated and maybe almost a little bit irate about that. Yeah, she almost feels a little bit, I don't think offended is quite the right word, but, you know, doesn't care about the question. Yeah, that's interesting, Nancy. So anything else, Robin, that you want to say about that? Well, there is a learning that actually it's like the birds, the other birds, she's showing these sparrows or these smaller birds learning how to move around humans and integrate with them. And it might be more of a learning process for them is what the robin is saying. Like, we're really learning here, or at least my little group of birds that we have, that yeah, we have to move around the humans in some way. That's what she says. Huh. Yeah, so the Robin, there are some other bird houses that they have put in the backyard for them. Huh, yeah, this, I feel like this robin doesn't have a very high feeling or something about humans so far. That, yeah, there's this sense of like, well, you know, it's great that the birdhouses got built, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's the ideal place that the bird wants to live, and they still kind of have a choice to. That's interesting. So we have another question from Kim. Do you feel like there are more birds and wildlife about this spring, or a different quality? Everything seems especially vibrant this spring. Hmm. Yeah, she's showing me again that really, I'm not positive it's a robin call, but it is a very specific bird sound, bird call that she's showing me. And it is a very vibrant and kind of loud musical sound. And she's showing how it's almost like it's louder is what she's showing, like that sound, that joyful sound reverberating through the area is louder than what it has been in the past. She's like, I'm not sure that there's more wildlife necessarily. It just may be people are seeing it more because they're staying at home. She's showing like how she feels like maybe Boulder or our area is a little bit different because people have been out and about and still fairly active, but she's showing how, like in areas, like some of the deeper trail areas, it looks like in the mountains, she feels like there's like the wildlife is able to show itself a little bit more or feel safer because there are less humans out and about. Yeah, and the robin's saying, other types of life really thrive when humans aren't taking over everything. It really allows these other quote unquote lower, she says, life forms to sparkle and shine and come forward a bit more. And she feels like it may be more that um, humans are just noticing it more because they have been doing a lot of containment themselves. Okay. So let's see, I had a couple questions get emailed to me as well. So Robin, let me look over here. I have to look at my other screen here. Um, so Robin, Kate would like to know, what is your medicine and what do you want humans to know if they see you frequently, like there's a number of robins in one particular area? Well, she's saying, as far as medicine is concerned, and the way I'm understanding the question is more like along, maybe it might be shamanistic tradition where, when an animal shows up, they're bringing some kind of medicine or something. Um, and what Robin is saying here is that it's not always the same. She says for each human, like there may be a particular message, something to do with she's showing the archetype of a robin. There are different aspects that they bring depending on the specific situation with the human. But she does say, and especially right now, this energy is really strong in the robin, she said, of this spring energy and starting to like this coming out of hibernation and coming from being more confined into being bigger with your energy and moving into more um, growing green phase. She said that has a lot to do with it, is what she says. But it's not always that. It can be very specific to the person. She's showing me a lot of times, and I have no idea if this is true. I only know a little bit about shamanism, but what she's showing me is that birds often have a lot to do with dreams. And so if you're seeing a lot of birds, and she says it's not even necessarily robins, just birds in general have a lot to do with dreams, is what she's saying. So if you're seeing a lot of birds, that there is kind of an indication to pay attention to your dreams or to like put an intention out when you're going to sleep. Like, I think this message is more directed towards me. I'm somebody who I very rarely remember my dreams. But the robin is saying, like, for instance, Tracy, if you were to see a lot of birds around, it might be an indication for you to hold that intention to receive spiritual or higher information during your sleep, and to remember that when you wake up. Are there other messages or medicine that you feel like your species or robins in particular bring? She's showing this, that again, I hear that bird song pretty loudly, the specific bird song of, sometimes it just means speaking up and saying what's really true, what's really in resonance. And she's pointing to my throat, like, you can feel what needs to be spoken right here. And sometimes, like, if you see birds singing or making a lot of noise, it could be that kind of indication. Yeah, so she's saying it's not always one thing. She's pointing to a book, actually, I read quite a long time ago. I can't remember the exact name of it. I believe the author was Ted Andrews, and like Animal Wisdom or something like that. Like, he went through, I don't know if it was like the Native American tradition, what it represented, like different animals represented. The robin is pointing in that book, like that can provide a lot of information, but she's saying what's more effective is to really tune into that particular animal and just see if they have a message for you. It might be something completely unexpected. She's saying, like, yeah, it might be really good to look up on the internet what that animal totem means or something. It might spark a recognition. But she's recommending asking the animal directly what their medicine is, because it's not necessarily tied to, like, this species means this or this species means this. It could be a very individual thing, is what she's saying. And she says, yeah, when you see big groups of animals, or, yeah, she's saying it's not necessarily like you see a big group of animals and maybe it really catches your attention and you want to look up and read about them, that's fine. But she says if you see a particular animal more than once, particularly 3 times or more, that's when there's something specific from maybe that species or that particular animal that they're trying to get your awareness. And she says that's when it can be really good to, like, maybe you feel like you're not really good at receiving messages or animal communication or something like this. That's when looking up what the animal totem means or looking in that Ted Andrews book might be helpful to kind of spark something that resonates with you. But it's not always about a specific message, like this animal means that, and this animal means that. Like, we don't really work in it exactly in that way, is what the robin is saying. Yes, Kim says Animal Speaks. That's what it is. It's Ted Andrews' Animal Speaks. That's the book, yeah. So Kim is wondering, how can humans be more harmonious with robins and other birds? Well, it's the same way that they can be harmonious with other species in general, the robin says, just acknowledging that they actually exist instead of, having this idea of, like, well, I'm the human and I'm just going to walk and do my important things, get in my car and go to work. And taking the time to actually notice the animals that show up in your life and the animals that are hanging around your house. She's showing, like, well, we talked to Bugsy Malone, this squirrel, earlier in April, I think it was, and like just noticing those animals that continually show up and putting awareness on them and tuning into them and realizing that they have consciousness can really bring a more harmonious kind of thing, and learning how to tune into animals and feel if they are sensing pain or some of the things that they might be feeling. Robin, do you feel like there's a specific way that people could do that? I mean, beyond learning animal communication and how to tune into animals, is there something that the humans could do? So what she shows me is humans often have their energy very closed. Uh, she's showing it's almost like there's this kind of solid energetic boundary all around. And it's almost like nature or animals, they can't quite get through, is what she's saying. And what she's recommending is this softening of the edge of the boundary a bit. And she's almost saying the boundary is more about like human importance, like humans thinking that they're more important or higher. And if we can dissolve that, there's like a level of an increase in the way that animal energy can kind of touch us. And she's saying, and this is beyond domestic animals, she's saying domestic animals are very, very important in helping bring down those barriers. But as far as it's like there's a different level or gradation that has to happen in order for humans to let go of that boundary a bit with wild animals as well, and be willing to accept or understand that their lives have importance as well. Okay, so one final question for you, Robin. Do you think that this might change in the next several years or so, that humans might become, or that humans will become more aware of other animals? She's like, well, it's kind of 50-50 chance, don't you think? She's showing like these two different paths that we could go on. And there is kind of this, I feel this sense of hope kind of in the air, like in the area of her chest where I imagine her heart might be. There is kind of this hope that she has, but she says it could just as easily go the other way. There's this real big split in society. She's showing, I think she's showing me more the United States, just because that's what I'm familiar with, this huge like split in how people think in this world. And yeah, it could go either way. She says, I really hope that more people will start waking up and listening to the birds, but I just don't know. Thank you, Robin. Is there anything else that you would like to share with us before we close today? She would really like for people to notice the bird sounds, the bird songs. She's showing there's a way that you can, ooh, wow, it's kind of taking me into these higher realms here. It feels like there's this way you can connect your third eye energy into the bird song, and she shows it like bringing you really kind of high into this. It's almost this kind of archetypal world, what she's showing me, and how the birds like hold this specific frequency for the forest in particular. Is what she's showing is like tuning into the bird song can bring you into this higher spiritual experience, but you have to really line up your third eye with the song, is what the robin said. Ooh. Oh wow, I could sit in that for a long time. I feel like my energy got pulled way up really, really high. Thank you so much, Robin. That was really, really amazing, actually. All right, so thank you so much for joining us here for these communications with live animal. It's been really fun for me to do these, and this will be ongoing for a while, so we'll see how it goes. And so again, thanks again for joining me, and until next time, take care and be well.